Welcome, listeners. I have an exciting guest for you this episode. Welcome, Marlen Kakkori. She is the founder of Marlene Marketing, and it is a podcast leverage strategist who helps authors, coaches, and experts turn podcast interviews like this one into authority, partnerships, and clients. My goodness. She specializes in helping experts use podcast guesting strategically and intentionally, not just for visibility, but to grow their business and their influence. With that, welcome, Marlene.
Hello, very nice to be here. Thank you.
Amazing. I want to start off by just asking you what makes you such an inspirational leader, or what's your secret sauce?
I feel that niching down has been the secret sauce in the last years. I started as a marketing agency 2020, and then first I offered many services. I tried to niche to affiliate marketing, but there I still offered communications and other kind of partnerships. So I was fractional partnership manager. I loved the job and I had great clients, but I was still like one of many partnership managers, affiliate marketers. And I feel the secret sauce that have made me feel that I own a category is when I niche down to podcast partnerships and podcast guesting. So I can say that I am the podcast whisperer. I am the one who sends guests to strategic podcast stores and coach them through how to make money off it.
I love it. Podcast whisperer on a podcast interview. It's kind of like a lot to unpack there. What would you say is the number one biggest mistake that you see podcast guests make repeatedly? And what would your secret sauce to fixing that, other than hiring to work with you, be?
There are a couple of mistakes, but I would like to say about two. One is leveraging the pre-chat with the host, is actually having time to make sure you both know what you expect from the interview, what is the goal for both of sides, and remembering that the host is not just host and you're not just a guest, you're both business owners. So what beyond the episode you two can do together? So that's the one side, and it's very strategic. And I know guests who have made collaborations with hosts before they're recording and already earn money. That's missing this part can be a miss of revenue. And the second big part is what happens after the interview. So after the interview, many people just share the episode in their social media a couple of times, and that's it. But the big difference is if you put the episode on your website. Do you have it on your speaker page? Do you ask personalized questions about this episode? I mean, that is where the lead generation opportunity is missed very often.
Yeah.
So this is what I would say.
Yeah, and it's interesting you say that because we work with a lot of speakers and we help them leverage every stage. And even podcast guesting is considered a stage, just like going to the coffee shop is considered a stage. It's a conversation. And what I see time and time again is people not sharing stories, not being strategic and having collaboration opportunities. There's just so, I guess, tunnel vision around just mastering their interview. And then I agree, after the episode, there's so many people that lose the SEO opportunity and kind of like cross-pollinating that relationship to get leverage on both ends, because those backlinks on your media page, your speaker page are so valuable. And my biggest frustration point before we get on to my next question for you is so many people come and guest on the podcast, and we have a really beautiful follow-up process. We create a lot of beautiful marketing assets. We're intentional about who we strategically invite to guests on the podcast. You will not ever see a single guest on our podcast that's not either a collaboration partner, a potential client, an existing client, somebody who it makes sense for us to strategically work with, but they won't even share it out to their network. It's like, what was the point of the podcast if you're not actually sharing it and cross-pollinating? That's insane to me, Marlene. It's like, it drives me bonanza crazy. But we could talk about that all day, and we have limited time. So I do want to pivot and ask you, what does inspiration mean to you, and in particular in your business?
My inspiration for me is like, I don't want to close down my computer in the evening because I love my job so much. I'm so inspired of what I do. And when I go in bed, I still have ideas how to improve my sales, how to help clients. And like, I'm all the time inspired of how to, make it better. I love to learn from business mentors, other consultants, experts, all the tips and tricks to make my business better, my clients' life better. And I wake up, I'm like, I'm happy to start working. That is inspiration for me, that I'm doing what I actually love to do.
Yeah, my goodness. For me, one of the best ways I can describe for me inspiration, especially when I know that I'm still in love with the work that I do, is similar to like you just described. Inspiration is kind of like this bug or idea that bites you, and you can't go to sleep because you're so excited about helping that client because you have like this idea all of a sudden. For me, rock climbing or in the shower in a state of flow, and there's a pain point you've been trying to solve in your company or for a client or a partner, and you're like, oh my goodness, this is so brilliant. You have to pause, write it down. You get to go tell them. If it's too late at night, you're like, reminder for tomorrow to share that. And I think we're just so lucky as business owners, especially when we have found our true calling in what we're doing because we love our work and it's not oh, Monday gross. It's like, yeah, Monday, let's go. And like what's the difference between Sunday and Monday? Because we're still learning and growing to share that with our partners, which is amazing. So thanks,
That
Marlene.
literally happened yesterday in the beach. I was in the beach, swimming, sunbathing, and one moment I told my partner, I already want to work. I miss my work.
There you go. Yeah, just follow the inspiration bug. And when it bites you, oh my goodness, it's like so beautiful. It puts you in a state of flow. Let's talk a little bit about peak performance because we can be inspired, but does the inspiration lead to true peak form and peak performance in a way that creates an actual sustainable business? So, how do you define peak performance today? And how did you arrive at this current definition?
Yes, there is like the busy work and the strategic work. So I think the peak performance is when I actually focus on strategic aspects of my business, like what is actually what nobody else can't do in my team and only I can do. Like, and everything else is possible to delegate to my operational manager. I'll do, and I'll focus on sales. And then is actually where we are getting more results rather than micromanaging my team.
Yes, I one of my biggest pet peeves is when I need to micromanage somebody. That's part of why I don't like corporate America. That's why we're very intentional with team members that we hire. They need to be their own kind of mini entrepreneurs to be a great part of our team, a great part of our culture. And I agree, the more business owners can create space for what we like to call super thinking time, that's where you do the strategic on the business stuff, not the in the business daily tasks, the operational things that really, once you're more sustained as a leader and a visionary, should be delegated to, like you said, your operations manager or other team members that are better equipped to do that. And the visionary is really just at the helm doing the next thing and growing things. So yeah, I completely agree with your definition of peak form. Now, how I'm sure this has not been like this perfect journey that people see in the movies. What were some of the biggest challenges and obstacles that you faced in gaining this peak performance mentality and where you're at in your company today?
Realizing that I cannot sell my time, but I should sell the results. And that made the whole shift of hiring more help so I can focus on um, of doing the smart work and not doing the hard work, and getting results from my clients by systems, not by hours and extra hours of work.
Ooh, yeah. That's a really important point. I actually just had a conversation with somebody on somebody else's podcast, and we were talking about pricing, right? And how it's so easy for people to look at like a consulting package or any kind of package, and then they start breaking it down by hours. And I'm like, wait a second, hold on, time out. That's not what we're selling. We are selling a result. We have systems, we have resources, we have decades of experience, we have a team that's supporting you. This is not an hourly breakdown. And this hardly ever happens unless it's really just not a fit. It's a mismatched, not qualified lead, which rarely happens with our systems and process. But occasionally, when those people kind of sneak in, I'm like, yeah, you're not our person, but have a nice day. But the mistake we see people make all the time is selling hourly rates and like pricing based on hourly and pricing based on market competition. I put that in air quotes because I don't look at anything as competition, and not really sitting in the value seat of abundance and like, hey, this is the solution. We are experts at delivering for our clients. Are you in or are you out?
And nothing is expensive. Everything can be expansive. That's the
Yes.
mindset I'm now in for my own business and also for my clients.
I love it. Not expensive, expansive, right? And the other thing too is with that, it's an investment in your business. And the investment is equally about the value of what we're creating for that client, but also it's how the client and the team on the client side show up. That investment shows a commitment energetically, physically, and you show up differently when you invest bigly. It helps you expand your belief in yourself, your belief in your business, and you show up differently as a leader when you make these big investments and you're committed to like that result, right?
Yes, and the premium buyers think about the upside potential, where the mass market thinks about the how long time it takes for me to earn back what I invested. While the premium buyers think about big is the possibility to earn after this investment.
Exactly. Yeah. That's why we like working with what we call possibility people, change makers, abundance and mindset. That's our culture. That's our vibe for culture, for our clients as well as for our employees and our partners, which is why Marlene is here. She's one of our newer collaboration partners. She's delightful. That's why she's here. So, Marlene, let's shift and let's talk about what everybody loves to talk about. Let's talk about money. Money. When have you left money on the table and what did you do to fix it?
The leaving money on the table, the first thing comes to my mind is when the shift of working short time term versus long term with my clients. I see that the clients get results after working with me 6 months, the biggest results. So the clients who I worked together only 3 months have seen small improvements in visibility and revenue, but not the biggest results. So now I change all my client contracts to 6 months minimum because I want them to get the biggest return on investment and for my business to have stability of actually being able to produce the best results for my clients.
100%. I love that. So when I'm on a sales call, number one, if I don't believe 100% in the person's, like the clients, what they're providing as a service, in the person as an owner, I don't feel good chemistry. But especially if I don't believe we can deliver an amazing outcome for that client or that prospect, I'm not offering them anything. And when I am selling them something, I am selecting the exact package based on the pain point they need solved and how much time it's going to take for us to actually solve that. And then I'm creating a custom package. And similar to what you're describing, depending on what we're doing, we do have things where people get a return on investment within 2 weeks or less. But most of the bigger things and the serious pain points we solve for our clients take typically 3 to 6 months for them to start getting that real ROI. And that's why I don't ever sell something unless I know we can deliver. It's the right package. It's going to solve their pain point and they're going to be delighted. Because you and I both know we don't want negative reviews from people. That's like the worst thing you could do, right?
Yes, and there's a big difference also because a part of my service is also coaching what to do before, during, and after the interviews. So if I only coach and they don't integrate it and apply it, they don't see the return on investment. So I'm also making it very clear in the sales calls that the work to actually on your business is what you do. You work on your business. And if my service works for you is if you work. If you don't work, my service also won't work.
Yeah, we have that actually before we would have a call with somebody. It's like, are you committed to taking action no matter what? If they say no, we cancel the call because there's no point in a partnership. There's no point in possibly working as a client because a lot of our stuff is delivered for them, but they still have to like install it and like use it. And so we can have all the templates, all the things, but if you don't use them, like nothing happens. You guys, there's no magic silver bullet or easy button that exists out there. We make like Marlene and I and really good business owners make it as easy as possible, but you still have to show up and use it, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Marlene, this has been amazing. Thank you so much. We're going to do 2 quick rapid fire questions, and then I will let you share with everyone how they can reach you. What is the best one piece of advice you would share with our listeners today?
About getting speaking opportunities is not just to be visible. The important part is that you get the speaking opportunities to be visible and to get clients from those opportunities. It's like speaking your truth is courage, is living brave, but then speaking your truth and getting the chance to transform people's lives and getting paid for it so you can have a chance to make impact in the world. That is the real deal.
Yeah, guys, I cannot stand it when people only look at the speaker contract for the actual stage, like just showing up. I'm like, there's so much value beyond that. Don't leave that money on the table. Yeah, amazing stuff. And what is the legacy you wish to leave behind?
I wish that more people have the self confidence on go and speak, sell their hearts out, because selling is of service. It's these perceived like something dirty or something pushy, but the real I wish people will embrace sales as something your service to the world, that you do this because you want to transform lives and impact the world. So you feel you own your sales process. You're not ashamed of it. You don't want to escape your sales speech, but you actually go on your sales speech proud of what you do and you deliver it.
Yeah, I'll share a really, really quick story because it feels very related to what you just shared. The late Sean Stevens, I saw him before he passed do this amazing keynote, and there were people scared of selling from stage, scared of sharing their story because it felt gross, dirty, whatever. And he had somebody from the audience come up who had a service. She shared the service. She was really nervous. And then he had people come up individually to the microphone to tell her why they needed her service and her gift to the world. And then he checked back in with her. How do you feel now? And she was like, I feel really excited to share my story and to be of service for people. So, y'all, the thing that you are gifted, your superpower in business, the thing that you're just gifted to heal people with, and the pain point you help them solve, it's not dirty. It is being of service. Stop hiding. You are worthy. We want to see you. We need your gift in the world. Marlene, how can our folks contact you, work with the podcast Whisperer so that Holly never has terrible guests again, and all of my fellow podcast hosts don't have really bad guests ever again?
Yes, you can definitely find me on LinkedIn, Marlen Kakkori. And I also have my website, marlenemarketing.agency. And I'll have every month a free masterclass. So next one is coming up on 29th of April. So my website and a LinkedIn, I'll share about my free masterclass to tell people a little bit more about what to do to be a great podcast guest and earn money from it.
Love it. All right, our listeners will have all of those links that she mentioned in case you're not sure how to spell things. We have all the links in the chat. We will also have all the links if you're watching on YouTube in the description. Go there, hit pause, check them out, and connect with Marlene if you want to be a better podcast guest. For those of you who listen and you found inspiration today, please share it with somebody else so that we can be light makers and change makers in the world. Thank you so much, Marlene.
Thank you for having me.
All right.